Well, good day, everybody. Thank you for stopping in for my next video. I appreciate it. This video, we're going to look at an Emerson. That's model 811B, as in boy. It's an All-American 5 radio, and it would have been made maybe 1954, but probably 1955. As I started to make this video, I realized that it needed the same things and followed the same steps as the Westinghouse radio that I just did a three-parter on a few weeks ago. So I thought, well, I'm not going to make another multi-part video just to show you exactly the same thing again. So this is going to be a quick review. We'll just go through. It'll be a much shorter, but kind of a start to finish what I did. And, we'll let you take a look at that. And so thanks for coming by again, and we're still trying to build the channel, so if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and don't forget to click the little bell button. Thanks. So away we go. So this radio has a printed circuit board, which I don't have a lot of experience with. I'm going to have a few little problems with that later, but really not too bad. I was able to print out a schematic, and I had this diagram of the components and their values, and so not great quality, but it was okay enough to work with. That's the electrolytic that came with it. It only uses the 50 and the 30, so I don't know if this is a replacement, but it's been pretty sweaty. We're going to replace it. The chassis was not bad for probably nobody messing with it, but it was a little dirty, so we're going to go through and not do a massive cleanup, but we're going to knock the top layers off it for sure, make it look a little better. There's the caps that someone put in parallel to one of the electrolytic sides. The other electrolytic they didn't mess with, and that's my little soldiers, my little tube soldiers. And here's the back. Nobody's going to see, but it was really sort of dirty. So we're going to clean it. We're going to clean it up a little bit. So there isn't really a chassis to clean on this, but the only really place that any metal could be cleaned up here was the IF cans, which I'll do a little bit on, and this back plate. I'm not sure why I worried about it at all, since nobody can see it, but it was a little messed up, so I thought I'd clean it up a little bit. I didn't mention on when I showed the tubes there a minute ago that we tested all those tubes. They all tested really way in the good range. I was surprised. And we also looked at the resistors that were on the board, and they all tested within tolerance too. So we really didn't need to replace any of those. We are going to do a recap. And one of the reasons this little thing took me so long is that, and if anybody watches this and has some ideas, please leave me a comment. But, I haven't been doing this long enough to have this large sort of stockpile of capacitors. And so I have to order things, and it took a long time for these things to come. And we don't have a local Radio Shack or electronic supply store or anything like that, even though I live in a pretty good-sized town. So any ideas of who you order from or where you can go to get these things quickly? I ordered them online. It took quite a while to get them, so that's just the way it was. So maybe you can give me some good ideas. You can see those two paralleled electrolytic capacitors. They were actually paralleled and then tied to the existing electrolytic. And we're gonna take that out here in a minute. So I couldn't get that back plate clean, so the steel wool came out. We steel wooled it a little bit, and so now it looks nice and shiny. And so I guess I'm satisfied with it. So here we We're going to do just a little more cleaning on this. Those cans weren't too dirty, but just a little quickie with the steel wool and a little towelette, damp cloth thing. And we did a little work too on the surface of the board there, the top of the board. It wasn't bad, and we're not trying to do super duper, cleanup job, just a little bit. So now we're going to cut out that old electrolytic, the kind of sweaty one, and we're going to replace that. You can see just on the lower right, you can see the not very much on camera, which I'm sorry about, but you can see the little, what I call firecracker, which is electrolytic I ordered online. So I'm going to cut out this. I'm trying to figure out here, I think, how am I going to take this out and then get the other one soldered in, and are the lead's going to be long enough to sort of place that thing properly in there. It's going to turn out okay. And then those capacitors, I think they're good. So I'll put those in a little bin and save them for another day. We stripped the wires off after doing the cutting there. We stripped the wires off in preparation for it. Well, now I sort of like to, I don't know if this is standard or not, but I sort of like to just check and make sure this is going to work. So I'm going to alligator clip in the new electrolytic that I bought. So again, it has 3 electrolytics in it. We're only going to use 2. So maybe it would have made sense not to use that thing for this project, but just to buy 2 electrolytic capacitors, but I didn't have them. So, but I had this other thing. So we're going to go ahead and alligator clip this thing up, and then there's the one lead I'm not going to use there that I'm messing with. Eventually I'm just going to wrap that up in a real tight little circle on, wrap it up to itself, and it's sort of out of the way, and won't be any problem there. So we're going to put the knobs, we're going to do a little test of it. We'll fire it up and see if it works, and if I can get the knobs on. Come on, Dan, there you go. Just kind of there. And we'll put the knobs on. We'll get it, we'll put the back on. That has a little electrical, connection on the back of the back thing there. So we'll push that in. We'll hook it up to the Variac, my isotap 2, and well, first we'll go, like I said, I tested all the tubes. They're all fine, so we'll put the tubes back in here, and we'll just do a little run up the voltage, see if it works okay. So there, everything's hooked up, and we'll give it a little test. So here's everything all alligator clipped in, and we ran the test, and it worked just fine. And there's my shrink wrap pre-positioned, and we made the mechanical connections, and then we came back and did the soldering. After we soldered, we moved up the shrink wrap and got the heat gun out, and then that's the final result there. Of everything looked not too bad, I guess, and we replaced the caps on the printed circuit board. That was kind of an adventure. That's my first attempt. It was pretty good. But I also had a problem like this where the trace would come up. I'd have to fold over the lead a little bit and solder it down, but it worked just fine. Very quickly, this was cleaning up the knobs. It's Gojo on the toothbrush and scrubbing it around under the sink, rinsing it. Both of these things came out pretty clean, and they got a little Novus #1 after they got dried off. Okay, so let's reassemble and screw the speaker in here, and we'll slide in the chassis, such as that chassis is, and we'll secure the, put the back on and get the plug in and secure it with the screws on the back, and put the knobs back on, and we're ready to go. Alrighty, let's see what this will do. So we got it back together. Let's turn it on. As far as the case on this, radiomuseum.org said that these were made with modern plastics. But some people swear they have bakelite cases, and I swear this is bakelite. It's very thick, and it has sort of the modeled appearance of what bakelite looks like.
Christopher.
And I cleaned it as though it was bakelite with Greygate's paste polishing number 5, which was made for bakelite. I ordered that on eBay from the UK. And I have a little tube of it. Boy, it made a great difference. And then after that, cleaned it off and put a little auto detailing wax on there. So it looks great. And it's relatively sensitive here. You know, it's a nice little radio. It sounds halfway decent, and it's a good prospect to put up on the shelf. So I feel like we powered through this awfully fast, but I wasn't going to do exactly the same video that I did last time. So there's more things to come in the next few weeks. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really do appreciate it.